ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فخلف من بعدهم خلف ورثوا الكتاب يأخذون عرض هذا الأدنى ويقولون سيغفر لنا وإن يأتهم عرض مثله يأخذوه ألم يؤخذ عليهم ميثاق الكتاب ألا يقولوا على الله إلا الحق ودرسوا ما فيه والدار الآخرة خير للذين يتقون أفلا تعقلون بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المؤمنين واستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح يا فتاح يا فتاح صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم الأمين Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, it's a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has given me and you the ability and tawfiq to participate in this gathering. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this gathering a source of guidance for all of us. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this gathering one of the means of our entry into Jannah. Inshallah, in tonight's dars, in tonight's class, the ayah that we are going to understand and we are going to learn, it's an ayah from Surah Al-A'raf. And it's verse number 169. Verse number 169 from Surah Al-A'raf, chapter number 7. And in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes a generation that failed to live up to the expectation of their ancestors. Because I know, alhamdulillah, some youngsters, they come on Fridays in Tafseer class. Some of them are actually my students. Some of them I know very well. So I want to make these sessions more for the youngsters than, even I consider myself old person. So if I say old people, please don't get offended. This ayah, and I've chosen it for a very particular reason. And inshallah, as we try to understand it, you will understand the reason why I've chosen this ayah. Is that in Arabic language, when you say the word khalf with the sukoon of lam, it means a generation that came afterwards, and that was a stagnant generation. That was a worse generation than the previous generations. It was a worse generation with the sukoon of lam, khalf. But when you say the word khalaf with the fatha on lam, khalaf, then it means a successful generation. In this ayah, which is verse number 169, chapter number 7, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not talking about khalaf. Allah is talking about khalf. فَخَلَفَ مِن بَعْدِهِمْ خَلْفٌ with the sukoon of lam. Allah is talking about a loser generation that took after them. You know, a lot of times we people, young people, we always say that we are the next generation. We are the future generation. We are the next generation. A lot of times we say such kind of stuff. And we criticize our elders, especially in the mosque. We have some mosque uncles that we call them, mosque uncles. And we criticize them all the time. And we say, you know, these elder people, these old people, they don't understand where we're coming from. They don't understand our attitude. They don't understand what we want to do in the masjid. They don't understand our approach towards Islam. So we always criticize them. And we take pride in the fact that we are the next generation. We are the future of the ummah, right? So yes, we are the next generation. We understand that. But are we a successful generation or are we a loser generation? Are we a successful next generation? Are we khalaf or are we khalf, a loser generation? That's what inshallah we will try to understand tonight. We will put ourselves to test and then we will understand and we will try to realize that are we khalf or are we khalaf? So the first thing Allah says is that فَخَلَفَ مِن بَعْدِهِمْ خَلْفٌ, a loser generation came afterwards. What was the number one thing? What was the number one sign of that loser generation? وَرِثُوا الْكِتَابَ. They got the book in inheritance. They inherited the book. They were lucky enough to get the book in inheritance. Meaning, they didn't have to become Muslim. They didn't have to go and embrace Islam and convert to Islam and then seek out the book. They were lucky enough to get the book in inheritance. It was passed down to them from the previous generation. So they were lucky they got the book in inheritance. But despite having the book getting in an inheritance, يَأْخُذُونَ عَرَضَ هَذَا الْأَدْنَى. Despite that they got the book in inheritance and they didn't have to make effort to get that book. يَأْخُذُونَ عَرَضَ هَذَا الْأَدْنَى. They are still holding on to the low motives of this life. Low motives. You know, this life and the low motives of this life, that's all that takes over their mind. That's all what they can think about. Only worldly things. Low motives. Worldly things. You know, that's all what they can think about. Next movie, next game, next mobile phone, next car, next house, you know, next vacation, what is going to be the next meal, next outfit, next shoes. Not the next shoes, not the next that we have here. Just shoes. You know, subhanAllah, Allah gave me an opportunity to go to a few parts of the Muslim world. I go to Pakistan every year, but when I go to Pakistan, Allah somehow gives me an opportunity to go to these other Muslim parts of the world. And subhanAllah, I'm telling you honestly, you sometimes see young people and you almost feel like crying. You just walk down a mall, walk past by a mall, and you see these young people coming out of it. And they are so obsessed with the brands that they are wearing. The bags that they are carrying, the bags that they are carrying, and the brand name on it. And they are so obsessed with it that they will go out of their way. And you will go and see it yourself if you don't trust me. And wallahi, I'm not saying that I'm the most righteous and the most spiritual and the most religious person. I like good clothes. And I like good shoes. And I like to look good. That's why people call me modern Mulana. Before they used to call me Paki Mulana. Now they call me modern Mulana. So I like these kind of stuff as well. And there is nothing wrong in liking it. You can have the best car, you can have the best dress, you can have the best shoes. But becoming obsessed because of it. You know, you will see kids in these countries. They go out of their way to show you the brand that they are wearing. They will go out of their way to show you the brand that they are carrying. And it literally feels like these people, they are not people anymore. They are a coat hanger of all these brands. They are a coat hanger. They are not even people anymore. This is يَأْخُذُونَ عَرَضَ هَذَا. They are holding on to the low motives of this dunya. Adna. Low motives of this life. وَيَقُولُونَ سَيُغْفَرُ لَنَا. And you know, on top of that materialistic approach, totally materialistic approach, وَيَقُولُونَ سَيُغْفَرُ لَنَا. They are saying Allah is going to forgive us. We are going to be forgiven. Don't wait. سَيُغْفَرُ لَنَا. We will be covered. We will be forgiven. SubhanAllah. And you ask them, why do you think that you will be forgiven? And they will mention the accomplishment of the people of the past, of their previous generations. They didn't accomplish anything in their lives. But when you ask them, what is so great about your generation that Allah is going to forgive you? What is so great about you? They will always tell you about the stories of the past. And that's what we do, right? That's what we do. Whenever people ask us, what have we done in this dunya? We don't have anything to tell them. So we tell them about the stories of Sahaba and Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam, because we haven't accomplished anything. وَيَقُولُونَ سَيُغْفَرُ لَنَا. We think that we will be forgiven because of the intercession of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And we have done an entire dars, actually an entire Jum'ah, where we talk about that how will Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam will stand up in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will say, Ya Rabbi, inna qawmi ittakhadhu hadha al-Qur'ana mahjura. He's not interceding for us. He's interceding against us. هذا القرآن مهجورا. They have left this Quran. It was right there in front of them. And they have abandoned it. So this is our mentality. This is our, we will be forgiven. Allah will forgive us. وَيَقُولُونَ سَيُغْفَرُ لَنَا. And then Allah says, وَإِن يَأْتِهِمْ عَرَضٌ مِثْلُهُ يَأْخُذُهُ. And by the way, if you give them anything else, if they are given any other motive other than Islam, other than the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will run towards it. They will run. You give them anything other than the deen of Allah, and they will run. This is a criticism of a loser generation. This is a sign of a loser generation. That they are into trends. Next trend comes and you run after it. A new trend comes, you don't know if it's right or wrong, but you run after it. This is a criticism of a loser, that they are not into what is timeless. They are into what is trendy. So something is going this way, and you don't even understand and you don't even realize that it agrees with the principles that I follow in my life or not. You just go that way because everyone is going this way. This is a criticism of a loser generation. A new movie comes out, you know that it has some filthy scenes, it has some inappropriate scenes. It is rated for its language. Yes, it's a comedy movie, but it's rated for its language. But still, everyone is watching it, so why can't we watch it? Everyone is watching. So everyone is what we don't want to draw a line for ourselves. We don't understand what is right and what is wrong. If there is a trend, the loser generation will always follow it. They will not understand if it agrees with our principles or not. They will just go and get. This is وَإِن يَأْتِهِ عَرَضٌ مِثْلُهُ يَأْخُذُ. Ya'khudhu just doesn't mean that they go up. They grab it. They don't just run after it. They grab it. A new trend comes and they will go and they will grab it. And then finally Allah says, أَلَمْ يُؤْخَذَ عَلَيْهِمْ مِيثَاقُ الْكِتَابِ. Let me put it into simpler terms. Allah says, are you not under the contract of my book? Are you not under the contract of my book? Did you make a promise to me before coming here? أَلَمْ يُؤْخَذَ عَلَيْهِمْ مِيثَاقُ الْكِتَابِ. Are you not under the contract? What is that contract? Understand this and then inshallah finish. I won't take more than 5 minutes. Don't worry, inshallah. Are you not under the contract of my book? أَلَّا يَقُولُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ إِلَّا الْحَقِّ. That you are not going to say anything except what is truth on behalf of Allah. Haqq, truth. You are not going to say filthy stuff. What are you going to say? You are going to have a meaningful speech. You are going to say what is true on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the future generation, we're sitting here, the younger generation, they are supposed to become outspoken. They are supposed to become the spoke people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's book. وَدَرَسُوا مَا فِي. Aren't they supposed to be the people who will learn the book of Allah? Who study the book of Allah? Darasu. They study the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, my brothers, understand this carefully. In other words, we will only be able to live up to the expectations of our ancestors. Our du'as and our prayers will only be fulfilled if we become a generation who wants to learn the revelation, who wants to live the revelation, and who wants to share the revelation with the rest of the people, passionately. Then inshallah we will become a successful generation. And then finally Allah says, وَالدَّارُ الْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لِلَّذِينَ يَتَّقُونَ. And the last home is the best home for all those people who try to protect themselves in this dunya. أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Why don't you think about it? MashaAllah, you have this consciousness. You are intelligent people. So why don't you think about it? Just give it a thought. Allah doesn't force anything. Allah says just think. Just think and you will reach to that conclusion. Just think about it. So brothers, we need to think, are we going to become a generation on the day of judgment that will lift their ancestors? Or are we going to become a generation on the day of judgment who will drop their ancestors down in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Let me put this into perspective for some of you. Most of us people who are sitting here, most of us, we are not from Arab lineage, right? Some of us, alhamdulillah, they are from Arab lineage, some of us. And probably their Islam is coming from Sahaba. The people who are from Arab lineage, some of them, or most of them, their Islam is coming from Sahaba. It's being passed on from Sahaba. But the people who are from Pakistan, the people who are from India, from Africa, from Europe, people from all different parts of the world, can you imagine 3, 4, 5 generations ago, maybe even sooner, our ancestors were not Muslims. They were not even Muslims. Somebody took a shahada. Somebody said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, and he became a Muslim. And after he became a Muslim, he heard the stories of the prophets. That the prophet came to teach Islam. But then the next generation got a little bit deteriorated. And then the next generation got a little bit more deteriorated. And then eventually Islam was lost. So a new prophet had to come to teach Islam again. Don't you think our ancestors, when they heard these stories, they cried to Allah? And they said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, our children are still young. Ya Allah, give them the ability to say La ilaha illallah. Ya Allah, give them the ability to carry this kalima La ilaha illallah. Ya Allah, yes, I have been gifted with this kalima. I lived my entire life in shirk. I've lived my entire life in shirk, but alhamdulillah, Ya Allah, you guided me to Islam. Ya Allah, guide my children to Islam. Don't you think they must be crying for us? They must have made du'as for us. And you know what is the saddest part? If that person, the first person in our ancestry who took Shahada, who became Muslim, who left Buddhism or Hinduism or Christianity or whatever he had, he left it and he became a Muslim. If that person can look at what we are doing nowadays, what we are doing right now, if only that person can look, do you think are we living up to the sacrifice and are we living up to the du'as that that guy made for all of us? Or are we an embarrassment? And I'm not saying you, I'm saying we. And I'm using this word very carefully because I'm as guilty as all of you. I'm not saying that I'm an Imam Sahib, so I'm an exception. No. I'm not an exception here as well. But are we living up to his sacrifice? To the du'as that he has made for us? Or are we an embarrassment? Do we look more like our non-Muslim ancestors or we look more like our Muslim ancestors? Are we khalf or are we khalaf? Now we need to decide that. Allah has given us guidelines. Allah has shown us, showed us. And I sincerely make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make all of us khalaf on the Day of Judgment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us the pride of our ancestors on the Day of Judgment so that when we meet our ancestors, I want to meet that one first person in my ancestry who said the kalima la ilaha illallah. I want to meet that person on the Day of Judgment. And I won't be able to say to him that it's because of you I carry this kalima la ilaha illallah. Allah made you a means. And all the good things that I'm doing in my life and all the good things that my children have done in their life, all of their good things, they are going into your amal. They are going into your scale. They will keep coming towards you. And this will be the joy of being reunited with our ancestors, inshallah, on the Day of Judgment. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of us this joy. And when we meet our ancestors, they will be proud of us. And we don't let them down, inshallah, on the Day of Judgment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us understanding. May Allah keep us united in this dunya. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reunite us in the afterlife.
At the time.